So so we had a downside today. Let's just see how much went down today. So it went down about 6.5%, right? I mean, it got hit, but it wasn't that much hit compared to like some of the stocks, such as, COS or DJT. Sorry, not Tesla. Sorry. And then yeah, Nvidia is continued to dropping, and I think yeah, Tesla is definitely over heavily shorted right now. Um, I don't know. Yeah, it seems kind of everything is kind of melting down right now, right? So yeah, Nvidia is kind of tracking really well for the from the 2008 financial crisis fractals here. Very nice. It's gonna continue to melt down until the earning, and until the earning after that it will start to kind of move up. But this is of course the bear trap, right? Sorry, the bull trap, right? And they're gonna plunge one more time, and I think around this time is when we're gonna see a squeeze finally, like the real big one. And even Tesla, I've been kind of tracking this one as well, but it seems to me that they're heavily shorted. I thought they're gonna do more go up and down stuff like that, but I think they're really I don't know who they are, but I think based on what Donald Trump says, it's the globalists, right? The people who control the war, right? So they're liquidating their assets maybe earlier, so that's why the fractal is from 2018. However, they're just this environment is completely different than back then. So we are crashing, but yes, they're maybe probably running the algo faster, or maybe they're heavily shorted in this area. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at in terms of the big tech stocks. And let's go back to check. Wow, coin is dropping a lot. Yeah, and also finally the Bitcoin is also following very nicely from 2021 November cycle, the bear cycle. Yeah, so a lot of people thought that maybe Bitcoin is gonna go up and stuff like that. I did kind of mention right now is a bear cycle apparently, and that's what the I'm looking at this year is the cleanup operation. When you saw 2008 financial crisis, when the big banks collapsed and stuff like that, but Volkswagen was squeezing. That's I think where we at in terms of the year. I think the meme squeeze is going to happen this year, while this big techs and the crypto markets has been pumped so much, especially the Bitcoin, and then yeah, they're getting liquidated, right, from the globalists. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I think more pullback is expected around CPI report, which is coming up this week on Wednesday, and also FOMC meeting coming up on 19. So I think somewhere between the CPI and FOMC is going to be somewhat, yeah. I don't know. It could be events, or it could be an excuse for the globalists to pull this money out from this crypto market. So look out for that. Let's go back to GME. So GME, in terms of the what's going on, I think we are almost finalizing the final pullback. So as you can see, so I actually so before I start the stream, I broke it down to a different color. So that you guys can see it better, okay? So the first color is yellow, which is the accumulation phase. And then this one took about 8 days, whereas right now it took about 81 days, which is exactly 10 times longer back then, right? Let's see, hold on. So yeah, it's 10 times longer. So, more accumulation maybe happen here because maybe the big institutions has to accumulate, or maybe long forces, whatever. So that's kind of what's happening, I think, there. And then this thing start to move up, and then I did notice that I know things are a little busy, so I'm gonna just try to clean this up here. So as you can see, this thing hits 1 2 3, hit 1 2 3, but very slowly, right? So I'm gonna change this color to green, just to match the green. so it's easier for you guys' eyes. So so this phase is where after this accumulation, this phase is where like you go up and pull back and creating a triangle formation, right? And I think that's kind of where we at. And this took about 7 days. And right now this taking about 136 days, which is kind of crazy. So it's definitely difficult to track, right? You know, we don't know where we at, but you know, we are kind of assuming that, you know, this is kind of where we at, right? And now we are here. I think now we are almost the bottom of it, and I'm gonna show you with the RSI as well after this thing here. So anyway, so we did hit this you know, 3 points, 1 2 3 1 2 3, right? And then there's a pullback. After this pullback, this thing push up, and this thing, you know, do this all the you know, chicken scratches here, but it did go up above to this than this one, right? So that's what happened. Did a double top, and I have a pullback, right? So now we are entering this pink box, right? So where this pink box is, the there's a sharp drop, pop, pullback, pop, and pullback. And this is kind of very tricky here because so this time here it was very simple. I think it was kind of box shape. I don't know, but it was definitely difficult to track because I thought what they did here was doing here, right? But instead they're doing it quite fast. But I think that's kind of what they did here, right? So after we hit this bottom here, this thing popped one more time, which what they happen. Instead of, you know, pulling this one down, they stay above in this phase, and that's, I think, was pretty tricky part. And I think maybe they wanted to create this type of you know, thing here, where they try to you know move around here, stay a little bit, and then before you know, final pullback. And then I think that's what exactly they did. I think there's more time frame. I mean, of course this is a lot faster compared to where we at. It's almost more than 10 times longer right now in terms of this green box phase. But that's kind of where we are sitting at. And then as you can see, when you line a triangle when you line up this thing here, you'll see this final triangle formation is forming here from this bottom. Yeah, from this bottom, yeah, to this bottom, right? So yeah, it's making this formation where, you know, what they're actually doing here. So it's kind of mimicking very similar fractals and patterns. And they do all this kind of chicken scratches, you know, go up and down, but yeah, which you don't really see much here because the algo was faster. But I think that's kind of where we at, you know. So we did kind of do that, and then tomorrow, so somebody posted today about the March something. There was a 7 years delta, right? So let me pull this one out here. So Bruce Illis post this one March 10th, 2018. It's Q post, and then they're saying, oh, it's big week this week, whatever, right? So March Madness, right? So this is just kind of, you know, tinfoil stuff. I think, you know, we can't really base off what's going on here. But I think when I look at DJT, I mean, DJT is kind of plunging quite a lot today. But I think DJT might be a final phase, I think, before you know, heading into a gap up squeeze. So maybe that's why they're kind of tanking this one a lot harder. So I think in terms of the DJT, we could see announcement maybe happen. I don't know, maybe it could be a you know, what do you call that, the Epstein files. You know, this hasn't been, you know, we're kind of waiting for the you know, full pages to be released. I mean, it's really been dragging, right? But I'll come back to this one later. But I think DJT could you know, do a big heading into a big giant squeeze here. But I still want to see a confirmation of these two things, which is it's kind of similar. I think some people, you know, already saw what's going on, but Based on this fractals, yeah, I think they tank it down a lot harder, than the previous run, which is about here. So I think DJT is really the final phase, and tomorrow I really need to see this thing push back up to this level again, this box at least, and then stay above here, and then this thing start to gapping up maybe Thursday, Friday, or something like that. I'm really just trying to see what their plan is here, right? So I mean, there's this 1, 2, 3 type of hits here at the end, pull back, and then they stay above here, so they actually push up here, and then push up here or here, and they just crash it, right? So which I think what happened here. So so what we need to see is DJT has to go up tomorrow and Wednesday, about 11% or something. So this one has to go up tomorrow and then come down. So forming final some sort of a like a staircase before heading into a gap up squeeze. So DJT, I think is at that kind of point where it has to gap up squeeze, and I personally don't know what can we expect from DJT, but I think something big could be announced where short has to cover their positions or something like that. So let's see what's going to happen this week. I think this whole thing, the algo will run faster today, to smash this. So what I'm seeing here is this algo here. Yeah, from here to this kind of algo is they do this. So they run it faster this time. So they crush it harder, they run these things faster this time. So what's next is this fractals, where this thing has to push up and come down like what they did here, and before entering to a gap up squeeze. So it's really important to see this by Tuesday, Wednesday, final pullback by Thursday, and then maybe this thing start to push up Friday, maybe latest next Monday or something like that, because next week is March OPEX. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm expecting. So we'll see how this plays out. So that's DJT. I think DJT should, I think when it pops, I think it should pop like crazy, but I don't know. We'll see, guys. So that's DJT. Let's go back to GME again. So I think kind of similar, similar pattern with DJT. I think we are almost finishing up the bottom today. So by tomorrow and Wednesday, we have to see this thing upside. This one showing me that maybe this pop will come on Thursday, but we need to see this kind of confirmation. Okay, we must see this by this week. So I think maybe the somebody mentioned that there will be some sort of a swap, right? So what's this guy's name here? So I don't really track the swap data, but I think maybe some people already saw what the swap data is, and then this guy is also saying that this Wednesday or something, that's when the whole the swap thing happens, right? So let's see. So this guy said, I still do given a big dump this morning. Swap theory says we bottom Monday, Wednesday. I think we already bottom out, unless they want to short it harder this time. So maybe they could short it till Tuesday or something, but they might have a swap and let the price run sometimes this week. If you don't get explosive action fractals, it's busted though. But I think it's coming. It is in line with what I'm seeing here. So I do think that is very extremely important this week in terms of see this type of price movement here. Okay, so I'm seeing this one as a Thursday, maybe not Friday, but usually Friday they want to have a pullback, right, because of the option change. So I think before the Friday, they want to maybe cover or something, or there might be some expiration, stuff, happening. So I want to see GameStop pop up to this level, okay, based on this fractals and the size of it. This thing should enter, jump about $26, okay. And I don't know, how much it's gonna jump. Maybe it could be higher, it could be lower, I have no idea, but I think there's a gap. So there's a gap here saying that yeah, there you go, there's a $26 gap, exactly, on the same spot as the fractals here. So once I see there's a gap here at also $23, let's see, there's a small tiny gap at $23 at 77 cents. There's also small tiny gap at $24. Also there's a gap here at $26.30. Once I see in this phase pop, I'm gonna sell my calls for March, and then I'm gonna start loading for April. Sorry, not April. I wish there's a May calls, but right now the funny thing is there's no May call options. That's kind of weird thing, right? So I think I have to accumulate the June calls, right? So yeah, that's kind of my plan is, right? So I got March, I got April and stuff like that, but I think I'm gonna sell my all my calls when I see the pop, and then start to accumulate the June calls. I think that's the safest safest option right now. I wish there's a May, but there's no May, right? That's the thing. The market makers maybe know what's going to happen, and what's funny thing is they open up to $100. That's crazy. I didn't see this one in June, but anyway, what's crazy? I see the GME squeeze and everything squeezed by October. You see how much option chains they open up here, only open up to $35. Why is that? Because they don't want you to load up here, so they know what's going on, I think, for sure. But anyway, I do expect I wanted to see this pop, so I'm gonna keep you guys updated on this one. So what's next fractal will be is this thing here. So next fractals we need to see is this one, and we might see maybe roaring kitty tweets, okay, and then maybe and then jump, right? I don't know. I think it's been a while that we haven't heard from RK, but next fractal is this fractals. Up to $26, right? There's a gap, right? I told you there's a gap at 26.30. There you go. So it perfectly touches here. So yeah, by this week, what I need to see is this pop, okay, from here to about 18 to 20% size. So we need to see this one, and then forming another triangle formation, right? So there's a triangle formation up here forming here, right? Making a formation here, which what happened here as well, right? Somewhat. And then next one is the small formation again, right? Another wedge, which is this means this is going to start to breaking out of it, right? So basically after making this pattern, they don't just squeeze right here, right? They want to kind of prepare, right? So that's why they do go up and down, doing thumping waves. So let's see this making a thumping wave 3 times, as I see here. So that's kind of what I'm expecting here. So when I show you also RSI, it was definitely very challenging in terms of finding where the GME is sitting at. So yeah, before I start the stream, I went through the whole RSI. So I'm gonna walk you guys through where we at. So yeah, so I already talked about the accumulation, so I'm gonna skip the accumulation phase and let's just focus on the green box here. As I mentioned, this one back in April, was very fast as compared to this one, and then because they want to run it bigger, they need to more accumulation time perhaps, right? So there's a 3 times 1, 2, 3 exactly happened here in RSI. That's what exactly happened in this 1, 2, 3 happened here in the green box. Let's move on to the blue box. This was very tricky for me to find out because RSI was very high up here. And then oh, sorry for the voice. Oh my god, my voice is cracking. And then after that, this thing started climbing down. And when you look at this one as well, when you actually don't see this part, this thing is actually coming, making a wedge point, right? When you look at this one as well, I'm gonna change to a more wider 6 hours or something like that. Yeah, maybe this is better here. So hit 3 times in the green box, hit 3 times in the green box, another hit 3 times in the blue box, somewhat, right? 1, 2, 3, somewhat, right? But overall, it's making a those kind of formations. So they do kind of similar thing here, and then pull back, and then pull back, right? So it looks exactly the same thing compared to this one, right? I'm gonna actually I'm just gonna pull this back a little bit. Yeah, so you can just focus on the not fractals, you can focus on the RSI for a bit. So so we finished the blue box, and then pullback happened. So this is where the tricky things happen, okay? The tricky thing was after they hit this bottom, you see the size of the RSI, the purple line, it was very high. Basically it looks like it was kind of breaking out of this one. So it was very difficult, right? So this one, it was stay above in this range where like the size is very tight, it was very similar to this one, in terms of the height. But when you look at the height, it was like so up and down, so that was very difficult to track, because when you look at after this thing breaking out of this one, which what happened here. So I think there was I think the market makers or somebody trick us here, or maybe a huge buy happened here. So you guys can get into some data what happened in February 10th, February 13th, and February 20. What happened here? So because there's a big spike happen, and then much more bigger accumulation probably happened here maybe. But yes, it did track all the things, and then finally come down. And when you look at the yellow line, when you just focus on the yellow line, this goes up and down, go up, down. This one also goes up, down here, right? Goes up, down here. So this one is very tricky here, but you have to pay attention really well. You have to really pay attention to this one. So this one start with here, come down, a yellow one. When you just do a whole thing, this one come down here exactly, right? So this is covered here and here. So this fractals is this one, okay? So this one is complete, and now it's only this one left, which is this one, right? So oh sorry, not this one. So only this one, this part. So yeah, so this part, right? So that's I think what we saw here. But this thing has started to making this kind of crazy spikes, like this one. So that's why it makes me really confused, And but anyway, so that's kind of what we went through. Slightly different fractals, and then it had a bigger spike compared to this area, but they did what they have to create, right? And then they come down and do another thing, and then push one more time, right? It's slightly different fractals, but you know what I mean. But when you look at RSIs, it's basically making a large M shape. You see, there's M shape here, and I think that's what they did because the time is a lot longer, and this is much more stretched, maybe a lot faster. So that's why we cannot really, figure out the extreme details of the each fractals but we could get the overall bigger pictures of it. But I think that's kind of what we did. And then this making a so by today it's finished, almost making a final M shapes here. It looks a little weird M shape. I mean, it's a little off, but this one has a clear M shape. And once this thing hit this bottom, which what happened today, this thing just kind of do a just boop spikes, right? So yeah, so I wanted to see maybe I don't know, maybe this could go down a little bit one more day or something, maybe just to this has to settle, but I think we are very close. What's going on at the overnight? Oh yeah, overnight is really, it's not really doing anything. Okay, DJT start to moving up. So but anyway, you know what I mean. So when you also now go back to the yellow line, this yellow line, this thing's of making a kind of weird M shape here, which what they did, and this yellow line come down, right? This thing coming down and then just go up like this. So I think somewhere here it has to meet, and that's when we're gonna see a run. But yeah, I don't know when this thing gonna happen, but I think maybe possibly maybe they can run this thing faster. Maybe really depends with the how they're gonna run this thing. So if Roaring Kitty comes back and tweet and do something with it, or some announcement, but I think they're not gonna announce right now. I think they're gonna hold it until I think end of March or April, early April, this thing start to kick off the cycle. So so I think, yeah, so for this week, yeah, this is kind of what I'm expecting to see, a pop, and then pullback, and another pop, pullback, right? Do this kind of thumping waves here, and then finally entering the rally. So that's pretty much it for GME, but I wanted to cover AMC as well, right? Because there's also a lot of AMC folks, and then holding AMC, and then also what I find very interesting, because interesting was I think AMC is running faster. So this is the May earning, okay? So what I saw before was yeah, this is just too much. I mean, this whole thing is kind of easy to see what's going to happen, like this way. But yeah, it's just very disturbing. I mean, distracting. So I'm going to delete this one. So what I saw before was I did notice this thing push back, pull up, come down, right? And then I based on the 2020 fractals, I thought they're gonna do this kind of very similar to this one. But I mean, they did, but I don't think they did exactly, right? But they did making some sort of a mountain M shape, so at the time it clearly making M shape, but this time it making a very weird M shape here, right? So this one is very tiny, this one goes up and come down. So I think that's where we at, because before I was actually thought that, what, maybe it's this one, maybe they're stretching out like GME, but this area was coming down, whereas this one was supposed to go up. So I thought that's a little off, right? Is it because the naked short selling? And then I was like, maybe. And then I look at the GME now, because the what I saw from the what I saw before was March rally, but now I see that's now in April. So if that's and if AMC has to run with GME, which means that AMC is now doing this, right? So that's exactly makes sense. So when this thing bottom out, instead of gap up, they just go up small one, and then they go up to this top, and then come down, and then they go up a little bit, like what you saw this in fractals, and then push back and come here. So I think maybe there might be one more push downs, downside, probably like Tuesday or Wednesday, yeah, maybe, and then this thing start to kick off on run, and then heading into April run, right? So I think that's kind of what we are seeing. We might see here, right? So we might see this type of movement, and I think that's what GME is also sitting at here, right? So let's say I'm seeing this pop here, and do this and then start to rally in April. So when you look at this, let me just put a box here. So this box is from April to April 4th, and then pull back by April OPEX, mid-April basically. So if this thing tracks perfectly, this entering the this rally, this pop by same time frame, April, right? And then have a pullback by April OPEX, which is the same spot as this one. Okay, this one, this one. So that's kind of what I see here between GME and AMC. So I see April run here, and then pullback by April OPEX. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this one here. Oh shit, hold on. Yeah, so this is April summer OPEX, right? And then after that there's earning, and then with the earning this thing kick off another pop, and then that's when, so that's in May. So GME rally will, I think, finish around May. So we might see, yeah, I think that's kind of what we see here. So this is end of April and May, and then final pullback by May OPEX. Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of what we see. So we're gonna see this kind of run together with maybe GME in this phase, but this phase AMC will come down instead. Maybe there's a little pop up and down like this, right? What we saw here, maybe this could happen maybe here or something, yeah. But anyway, this whole fractals could match up with this time frame, which with the GME and AMC, and then pullback happened here. Maybe that's the pullback, and then go up, right? Go up, go down, go up, like they do. They do 3 times like this. So maybe they do maybe similarly to here. Maybe they do this, right? And then they're gonna do a so this one is the 2021 January run, right? And this will be the 2021 May June squeeze, right? And that's pretty much end of it. But that's not it. AMC will, I think, explode a lot higher. So what I figure out is that what should I show this one? Yeah, what I figure out is that there's two scenario, but I do most likely see this type of scenario here, which is squeeze like cost. So so this is August, and in the same time frame from GME, this is August as well, right? So by August they're making this one, right, before gapping up squeeze level here, right? So they go a staircase, breaking out of this triangle, trying to break out of this triangle formation, and we'll come back to AMC. This is August. So August they do the same thing. Okay, so they try to break out of it, but it's not gonna be the final squeeze phase. I mean, the funny thing is, in 2021, this is 2021 and this is 2000 June, there's a pullback. There's a rally, but when it looks like the way they're gonna run this thing is actually they want to run this thing, one shot. Okay, so a lot of accumulation, and then they just go like this, right? So it's a big bowl, like a cup and handle or something, right? But it's making a huge bowl like this. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Which what happened here. This is making a huge bowl here. It's the same kind of scenario, but that's kind of what I see here. A big bowl here. So a lot of manipulation, a lot of like fuck around happen here, which is exactly what's going on. And then when AMC starts to moving up, I think they're gonna do this kind of, a big staircase, and then squeeze and hit this level where it's like a couple $100 or something, or 300 bucks, and then which makes sense because when you line this thing up from to the top, March 15, 2015, 2021 June, this is the 2026 January, right? So when you line up this thing, slowly moving up, right? Slightly moving up, and then technically that will be the final top, and then it's gonna drop and then run this thing over again, right? But I think because AMC start to have more cash and things like that, maybe this thing start to do same cycles, right? They're gonna do the same cycle. They go up and then they do do this, make a huge cup and then do this. They're gonna do this kind of similar, I think, pattern here. But I think by when the thing start to making this bottom and then forming a big triangle formation, and then when this thing really trying to break out of it, I think that's when the big short squeeze is gonna happen, like a really big one. So I'm really curious how they're gonna run this thing later. But I think this will be the continuous a cycle over and over again as long as GME whole meme basket exists. And I don't know if the market makers who control these things going to break out of this whole thing, so but I'm still seeing GME AMC is still connected, right? That's what we saw in May squeeze, right? So but for this year and then till early next year, this is some sort of a patterns that I'm seeing from AMC. So but I think it's gonna be a little bit of a wait time till this time, but that's kind of somewhat I'm expecting here. So you're gonna see an April pop, April run a little bit, pull back and then start to push up. So we're gonna see what we're gonna see here from this time. After you see a bottom in March, you're gonna see start to see a big higher low, and then and the squeeze happen. And I think they're gonna perfectly match with the same time with when GME squeeze, right? So like I said, this will be the August, go up and pull back before entering a gap up squeeze, pull back, go up, pull back. May, sorry, this is August, gap up and squeeze. And this is September, but once again, because the fractal is a lot slower, so it could be maybe October, or it could be September, I don't know, but something could trigger there. So you see how this thing, so this is I grabbed it from cost. So when this thing pop in August, there's gonna be a pullback, right? Because that's what GME is forming here. So I think it's gonna mimic the same thing, making a triangle formation, right? So they make triangle formation, here, you see, and then this thing will pop together with GME, which what happened here. So this thing do a pop, gap up squeeze or whatever, pop and have a pullback, right? Same kind of thing where I think AMC will do the same thing, right? Pop and then maybe pullback. So I think this is kind of like heading into a like 2021 January squeeze, right, type of phase, and then push up again, entering to the final short squeeze phase. So this one is the tricky part where this could happen at end of October and maybe end of September. I don't know. It really depends on the speed of algo. Maybe they could speed up this thing faster. So maybe this could the squeeze could end earlier. But I think they're gonna time it around October or September because normally that's when the market crash and correction happens. And I see when I look at the Nvidia, which is tracking very nicely right now, but Nvidia, I see it. I've been kind of telling everybody that this is tracking 2028, and then the big plunge could happen here between November to early next year. So I think that's when the basket stock squeeze based on what's going on, right? So this from November to maybe it could run faster early next year, right? 2026 is the meme squeeze, I think, phase. and it's gonna be a very explosive, I think, and a lot of news will talk about it, right? And for the Bad Path Beyond people, we've been really waiting for what, Chapter 11 exit and all that stuff, and the share new equities comes back, all that stuff. I don't know when it's gonna come out, but the bonds is moving up, which is very good news. And I'm asking myself, if you're RC, that you've been planning this for a long time and waiting the right time to push the button, where that could be, right? And I don't know, how they're gonna come back. Maybe it could come back as a, bye bye baby, using BBBY ticker, or they're gonna just come back as a DK butterfly. I have no idea. But the time for that, for this thing to be happening will be, I think, maybe because this is when the gap up squeeze could happen, right? So I think BBBY could come back maybe around here, when this thing really launched this thing to a squeeze phase. So that's, I'm just predicting, I don't know, maybe it could be come out earlier. But if you are running, I mean, if you're using if you have a big explosive thing to use, I think this could be this is a catalyst, right? So you have to use it really well, and based on the fractals and based on what you see, you have to use it really well. So I think BBBY will come back around September or August, somewhere here, and then they're gonna, and then GME, and then maybe they do merger or whatever, they some sort of a news. So they do some sort of a catalyst stuff here, and then and short has to like cover their positions or whatever. A lot of things happen here, and then heading into a squeeze, because the short cannot suppress the price, because the price is running up hundreds, right? A couple hundreds, and they can't really stop the train. So this thing go explosive upside, and then boo come down. And maybe this is when Ryan Cohen will do a dilution, right? I mean, it makes sense, right? It goes up to like $400-500. I mean, if this actually happens, and GameStop is a good opportunity for them to dilute, and then use that cash for acquisitions later on in the future. So I think this will continue like this, and then I think this will be the final squeeze phase that we've been waiting for. I mean, but this cycles I think will continue, but after this cycles, I think maybe they're gonna head into a bear cycle, unless maybe they have another plan. But that's kind of my my 2 cents. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. So let's watch out. This thing started pushing upside. So let's watch out how this thing will play out. But as I mentioned for GME, this thing really has to see actions fairly soon this week, by Thursday or something. Okay, so let's watch out. This pop here and fill $26.36. So let's see. So this will be the next movement until end of March. So I'm gonna keep you guys updated, and then I'll see you guys in next updates. Thank you guys. Night.